11 is for today.
Oh, we read 11, and he who does wrong, let him do more wrong. He who is filthy, let him be more filthy. He who is righteous, let him be more righteous. He who is set apart, let him be more set apart.
He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, may he bless Rav Shaul, who has honored Yahweh, reading the Abrit Hadashah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen.
I want to do a discussion here on verse 11, actually, which wasn't even in our reading. Thank you for bringing it up. I missed it. I have been teaching since our ministry started, about Yahweh shaking the fences. It came from a vision in 1999 where Yahweh was shaking a fence. There were people on the fence. And people were jumping from this fence onto one side or the other. And it turned out that one side was Yahweh's side, the side of the Torah, the side of this book. And the other side was the other side, the side not of this Torah and this book, but of all of the other stuff of the world. In fact, it was the side of the church at that time, is what I saw. And the vision had stuck, and the thinking had stuck, and the concept had stuck with me all this time as a very powerful thing. And what I saw was what else is brought up in Revelation, that Yahweh wants hot or cold. He wants his people to be hot towards him, or cold. If you don't want to be towards him, be cold. Get on the other side of the fence instead of his side of the fence. And I thought that's all it pertained to was spiritual matters. I would say that now in the past maybe 8 years, 9 years, certainly within the past 5 years, I see that this applies to everything. Take a look at America today. America is splitting, literally, on one side of the fence or the other side of the fence. America is the other side of the fence, the side of the leftists, the progressives, the socialists, the Obamaites, the homosexuals, the drug dealers, the murderers, the Muslims. All that side of the fence over there has one thing in common: a coldness towards Yahweh. In fact, a hatred towards Yahweh. And the other side of the fence is focusing on him. Even Christians are starting to come to focus on Yahweh. On the internet, we're seeing springing up ministries that are teaching stuff that myself, Rob Miller, others, whose names are just flipped out of my mind, have been teaching for a long time. And they've been teaching them consistently, over and over again. The same thing, week in and week out, month in and month out, year in and year out. We've been teaching Torah, follow Torah. We've been teaching Yahweh's Sabbath, follow Yahweh's Sabbath, follow Yahweh's feast. Eat the way Yahweh told you to eat. Be what Yahweh told you to be. Be either it or just don't do it at all. Get on the other side of the fence. This verse He who does wrong, let's talk about that. We just said, we listed a whole bunch of people, of groups of people that are doing wrong. The so-called left, the socialists, the progressives, the communists, the people that are following Obama, the homosexuals, the anti-gods that are having crosses torn down because it offends 3 or 4 people, the Muslims who can do anything they want to do, and the left just says, oh, well, they're just freedom fighters, that's okay. But it says here, let them do more wrong. Let them be cold. Let them be on that their side of the fence. He was filthy, let him be more filthy. Let him get off the fence and get on the side of the fence he's supposed to be on. And he who is righteous, let him be more righteous. He who is set apart, let him be more set apart. Those 2 people get on Yahweh's side of the fence. Yahweh does not want a fence sitter. I don't know what he would do with them. You know, how can you judge someone who sits on a fence and says, well, I kind of do both? There is no such thing. You can't do both and. You either are or you are not. A woman is pregnant or she is not pregnant. There ain't no halfway. People are married or they are not married. They are married and in love and it's forever, or it is not. You can't sit on the fence and decide, well, I can kind of do this and that and these other things. It's impossible. It doesn't fit this here book. This book wants us to be set apart. Leviticus chapter 11. Why are you supposed to eat this way? All right, I was just reading something, somebody giving one of the other people a terrific hard time about, well, what difference does it make what we eat? Well, all right. Leviticus chapter 11, 44, 45. I'm reading it to you. For I am Yahweh your Elohim, and you shall set yourselves apart, and you shall be set apart, for I am set apart. And do not defile yourselves with any creepy creatures that creep on the earth. For I am Yahweh who is bringing you up out of the land of Mitzrayim, to be your Elohim, and you shall be set apart, for I am set apart. That's why we eat the way he eats. We go over here to Leviticus 23. 23, this is all of Yahweh's Sabbaths in one clean, easy to read chapter. And in verse 1 it says, and Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, let's start. Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, the appointed times of Yahweh, which you are to proclaim or set apart gatherings, my appointed times are these. They're his. Why? Well, I think the simplest reason is because he said so. And he tells us this. Verse 44, thus did Moshe speak the appointed times of Yahweh to the children of Israel. They are his. We are set apart because we do these things. We are on his side of the fence. Be more righteous, be more set apart. Get on that side of the fence. Be more filthy, be more wrong. Get on that side of the fence. And I think this fence thing, I didn't realize how important it was when it happened, way back in '99, and today I almost want to say it's fundamental. It's a biblical, solid, biblical fundamental. Yahweh does not in any way want his people to go off and just play the game and show up at Sabbath services and say, oh, look how nice and clean and pretty and stuff and I am, and whatever. We have to do this day in and day out, hour in and hour out.
You have to live it.
We have to live it. In ancient times, and this is coming out of another message, in ancient times, in the ANE, the ancient Near East, religion was not a part of people's lives. It was their lives. They lived their beliefs day in and day out, all of the time. When the three angels came to visit came to visit Abraham, Abraham had just gotten himself circumcised, so he was not in the mood for visitors. When they show up, he
ran.
Did that guy. Righteousness. He gave them hospitality. Bang. Just like that. Because that was a part of the beliefs of the A&E. And you're right. He ran to go get the fatted calf or whatever the animal was. And he ran to do this and he ran to do that. Now that's not something I would have thought, I would think today would be something I'd want to do after being circumcised. You probably couldn't get me up for that, but he did. So his side of the fence was Yahweh's side of the fence. He chose it. And that's where we have to make a decision today. What side of the fence are you on? Are you on Yahweh's side of the fence? One way to find out, where's your priorities? Is Sabbath, the weekly Sabbath, your priority? Are Yahweh's feast days your priority? Or is Christmas your priority? Christmas is the other side of the fence. It's a pagan holiday. What are you doing in it? Yeshua wasn't born then. He was born in Sukkot. It's obvious. Or if you want to find out, there's another message on that too.
It's provable.
Pardon me?
It is provable.
It's provable that it was Sukkot. You have no proof that he was born in December. Except the church says he was born in December. And they're wrong. So, where are you? You have bacon stashed in your fridge? Or have you just said, no, I'm not going to eat that stuff anymore, and you get the withdrawals for a week or two, and you don't eat it anymore? Is it a big deal whether or not you eat bacon? Yeah, because he always says to be set apart. He calls bacon an abomination anyway. So, what'd you vote for? Of course, some of us voted Republican, and we're really ashamed of those that we voted for. I'll guarantee you that. But if you're an Obama supporter, you're on the wrong side of the fence. You're on that side of the fence. You deserve everything that's coming to you because you knew better.
Should have known better.
You're pro-abortion. Pro-abortion is absolute out-and-out murder. You cannot be put away, called something else.
Pro-homosexual.
Pro-homosexual. You can't be anything but it. So that's your life. And on that same token, and in light of some recent events, I do not think that we should be asked to check our faith at the door when we go to work or when we do any of the things that we do.
When we're in the public square?
When we are in the public square, our faith should be right where it belongs. I live this way, and that's that. And if it offends somebody, it's offending a minority and tough if it offends you. But this has to be, I have to be on this side of the fence, and there's a lot of things that are going to offend a lot of people. I'm sorry. Just that much. But I'm sorry. But I'm going to continue to do this. I also won't say anything about your stuff. If you're pro-homosexual or pro-abortion or something, I mean, I will speak out that you're wrong. But that's my opinion. And I'm not going to judge you. You'll get judged later.
Right.
Okay. Enough message.